Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Make sure to leave a like on this video down below and subscribe. My name is Alvin. I lean right on most issues, and I'll be representing the Republican side.
My name is Luke. I lean left on most issues, and I'll be representing the Democratic side. Hey guys, in this video, we are going to essentially be taking a look at Trump's potential vice presidential picks going into this 2024 election year. And yeah, ranking them in a tier list as to how much they add to a Trump 2024 presidential ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be rating this not based off of any specific ideology that these members might have in terms of what they might do in office, but just how much they add to the presidential ticket itself in terms of its electability, and then potentially in the future, what they might be as a candidate themselves for president if they are the VP. So
Okay.
let's start over here with the first potential pick, Lauren Boebert.
Um, Okay. I mean, Boebert is she's a member of the House of Representatives. She's a representative of Colorado's third district. A very extremist member, very pro-gun. Yeah, very Trumpy. Um, okay. I mean, I don't really see this as very likely. Like honestly, this is like a more one of the more out there potential picks for Trump, for a VP. But yeah, because I only say that because she hasn't really been doing great lately. There's lots of like images of, or like articles on her having fights with like Marjorie Taylor Greene on the House floor and like just kind of like uh really like a contention between the two. Uh and that paired with the fact that she's abandoning her swing district, Colorado 3, to run into essentially carpetbag in a more red Colorado 4th district going into 2024. I don't know. It does not seem like she's having a great start to the year. I can't really see Trump picking her, and and her extremist views don't really make her a good pick in general. I would say like D or F, honestly. What do you think?
Yeah, so I don't think she is likely to be VP for Trump either. However, I also want to say that Trump needs to pick someone that's going to expand his potential vote share with independents and conservative Democrats while still retaining his base. Because the problem with picking a VP for Trump is that his base does not like many people other than Trump. And especially when it comes to people that can win over independents, I don't think Bobert's the worst person ever to be picked. I think there's definitely worse options, but D tier.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, there's also speculation that Trump really wants to pick a woman this time around to be his vice president, so that might help her case barely, but
Yeah.
there's that. All right, next we have Byron Donalds, a congressman from the state of Florida. Byron Donalds was kind of thrown into the spotlight in early January of 2023 when he was floated as a potential alternate option for Republicans in the House to have as a speaker when it wasn't clear if Kevin McCarthy could be able to get that support from the House Republican caucus. And since then, he's been making the rounds on Republican media, making himself a popular figure among a lot of the more conservative wing of the Republican Party. He isn't exactly despised by the moderate wing or independents like a Lauren
Hmm.
Boebert might have been or a Matt Gaetz, as we'll talk about in the future. He also has the black card, which helps him gain African American voters if he was put on Trump's ticket, which would definitely boost his presidency. Although I'm not sure if black voters are really what Trump has been going for, but that would definitely help his numbers in that demographic by at least a few percent.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like if Trump, I mean, I feel like Republicans have been making slightly more of a play in terms of trying to get black men in particular on their side. uh, and like not necessarily trying to win the group, but just trying to better their margins because obviously like it's black voters have tended to be like a extremely Democratic demographic for a long time. But yeah, like if Trump wanted to start chipping away at that group, you can. Byron Donalds is a good pick. He's not really too controversial in terms of his House tenure so far. He's been floated as a speaker pick. I actually think it would be he'd be on the more solid ends of VP that Trump could pick. Like I could see him as a B tier, like slightly above average. Like I mean, like it's
Yeah,
pretty
I
good.
think he's a high B tier, low A tier because he has that appeal. Like you said, the black man play helps for him. And yeah, every vote counts. So if you can cut the margins even 1 or 2% with every demographic, you're definitely going to flip
Hmm.
states. So there we go for Byron Donalds. Next, we have Matt Gaetz, the man infamous for ousting Kevin McCarthy now from the House speakership and forcing him to essentially resign, which was kind of
You're right.
extraordinary. But Matt Gaetz as a VP option, um, I'm not sure if he would add much to the ticket, just like Lauren Boebert. He is also part of the sort of farther right wing of the Republican Party, and he doesn't present much of an appeal to moderates, conservative Democrats, independents. He's just not going to be able to appeal to them, and it might even bolster Biden's case of Trump being way too extremist and
Yeah.
get those Democrats to come home for him when they might have abstained from the vote because of Biden's low approval. And I think he's arguably even worse than Lauren Boebert here. He doesn't have the woman card here. He would definitely be a very popular pick among the more conservative wing of the Republican Party. Maybe get them to turn out a little more. Uh, and for that, he could maybe sneak into D tier.
Yeah. I mean, look, what's interesting is like I noticed we Byron Donalds and Matt Gaetz right next to each other here. They're both sort of in like a shadow primary, or it's perceived they're in some sort of shadow primary for the Florida governor's race in 2026, at least potentially. Yeah, Gates is part of that more extremist wing, kind of like Boebert. But I also see him as like kind of like a showman, sort of like Trump. Uh, I mean, usually members of Congress aren't that showy, but like in his like constant battles with McCarthy and him eventually ousting him, I think that was pretty visible in the House of Representatives over the last few months. But yeah, I don't see him adding much to a ticket. Like it's just kind of echoes what Trump already has, I think. So yeah, probably around D.
Yeah, there we go. All right, next Nikki Haley, very interesting one.
Yeah, Haley, I mean, Nikki Haley, I mean, she's worked with Trump before. She was his ambassador to the UN. She's a former governor from South Carolina, most notably running for president, and is Trump's essentially biggest obstacle right now. I mean, not much of an obstacle, but probably his greatest opposition. Um, and yeah, I mean, I've heard that Trump has been thinking about picking Nikki Haley as his VP, but a lot of people in his inner circle have like outright rejected the idea. Like, she's like too moderate and she's like against him in the primary, so they don't seem too happy with it. Which, and with all these people in Trump's world essentially being against it, I don't think he will end up picking her. And yeah, like I think she's kind of trying to build a more moderate image right now, and it might not really clash great. Although it could get more moderate voters on board with his campaign. What do you think, Alvin?
Yeah, so Nikki Haley is very interesting. Like you said, she has that more moderate image now with the Republican Party. Um, she now, with all this opposition to Trump, she does have a good case to form a backroom deal with him where she drops out, gives him the easy win, and then becomes his vice presidential pick. And she also has the woman, uh, she's a woman, which Trump wants to pick, seemingly. And she also is a woman of color, which could also bolster a case in terms of winning non-white voters, which the Republican Party would love to expand their base with, especially recently. And so that really does help her case. Like you said, she's worked with Trump before. However, she does put a bad taste in a lot of more conservative Republicans' mouths because of her more moderate stances, and of how much she has been trying to challenge Trump in this 2024 primary. She's run the best campaign out of any of the challengers against Trump, and she's made her position the primary challenger to Trump now for the presidency, which does not bode well with more conservative Republicans. She
Yeah.
would be a great pick in terms of winning over moderates, um, and independents. But with the two things working against each other, I think she's about as good as Byron Donalds here in the B tier.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, she does have potential to add some things to a campaign. Okay, next we have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Um, so this guy is a former Democrat, turned independent. He's also running for president in the third party lane. I think it's really interesting. Like he has some more conservative views, and I think Trump could potentially pick him if he wants to go for a more bipartisan image. Um, to say like, oh, I'm running with a Democrat, we're the unity ticket, um and try to cut into that like Biden's always trying to portray himself as the democracy candidate, the unity candidate, try to cut into that with a VP candidate like RFK. I think it's an interesting idea. I don't think he'd particularly upset more conservative voters like on the MAGA end of the party because he does have some extremist views of his own. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be interesting. Like, I think it'd be a decent pick, like C or B, really.
Yeah, I do think he is a worse pick than a Nikki Haley or Byron Donalds, which is why I put him in C. However, he does present some things, like you said, a lot of voters are on the fence. They might even want to vote for RFK right now, because of him being a third party. You see these polls where sometimes he goes over 10% in terms of how many people want to vote for him. And if Trump co-opts him and puts him into his ticket, those voters are likely going to go to Trump, which would definitely add a lot to his ticket. Image wise, I don't know how well this would sit with Republicans. RFK was a former Democrat, like you mentioned. He still does have the Kennedy name, and he is not a conservative on every issue, which could definitely not be great for Trump. If the Senate is tied again and Trump wins the presidency, he's going to have to rely on
You're
RFK
right.
to break ties. You know, you need to have someone that you can depend on to do that. And I just don't think he's better than the people we have in B tier right now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like
C
in terms
tier.
of legislation, breaking ties, yeah, he like on and some issues he might be more liberal. So that yeah, that is true. Okay. You want to talk about Kari Lake next?
Yeah, so Kari Lake, a candidate for governor in Arizona in 2022, who barely lost Katie Hobbs and is now freed up for a potential Senate run this cycle, or she could pivot if Trump wants her to be his vice president. And this is because, again, Kari Lake is a woman, and she has that card which helps her case with Trump. She also has been one of Trump's most ardent supporters from the very beginning. She's well spoken, has that media background, which could help her in a potential vice presidential debate against Kamala Harris, who isn't the best debater. And so you have this pick in potentially Kari Lake, where she could add to the ticket with her demographics, with her VP debate performance, and I think she aligns with Trump very well. Trump will know that she will be very loyal to him. However, I don't know if she adds too much to the ticket here. Like I said, it's a very delicate balance. And for that, I think she's somewhere in the C tier or B tier, but she's definitely adds a little to the ticket in terms of her demographics.
Yeah, I mean, she might help him in Arizona, but I don't know. Like, she's definitely not going to help him with independence. She's very much on the election denier end of the party. And she's running for Senate right now. So that, I mean, like if she suddenly stops and runs, and Trump offers to be the vice president to her, it might mess up like their fundraising and their ability to get a good Senate candidate in Arizona. So I don't know. I think right now, just because she's running for Senate and she doesn't really help appeal to moderates or any particular new demographic outside the MAGA voters, really, I'm not sure how much of a help she'd really be. So I think she'd be C. I think Byron Donalds and Nikki Haley would still be better than that.
Next is Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, this is another more MAGA member of Congress. This time a representative of Georgia. Yeah, she's definitely fed into her fair share of conspiracy theories. Um, this is like, I mean, I feel like Marjorie Taylor Greene is kind of sat into more like, how do I say this? She's more like involved in the House of Representatives right now, and she seems to be more focused on just ranking up there. I'm not really sure if she's looking for the vice presidency right now. Um, yeah, she's really just similar to like Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert in the sense that she's not really going to add much outside maybe motivating the like hyping up the MAGA base, but like Trump can already do that himself. So yeah, I would say she's probably a D tier. If anything, it'd probably even hurt him, like making all these independents who probably like have a worse idea of Marjorie Taylor Greene than even like Donald Trump, right? So I it could even like hurt him, have a negative impact. So yeah, D or
Yeah,
F.
I think she could be F tier because she does not add anything to this ticket and only makes his ticket more seem more extreme. And I think if unlike Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene has many worse comments, has many worse clips that the Biden Harris campaign would be putting up everywhere. And I mean everywhere. They would run ads on her from start to finish on every single thing you can think of on TV, on social media. And I think
Oh wait,
she's currently worse.
and that wait, if we're gonna talk about clips and stuff, wait, I just thought of this now. Lauren Boebert, I might have told you about this. I'm not sure how close you've been following Lauren Boebert, but like she recently had like a scandal, like where she was like openly like fondling a person and causing a disturbance in like a theater in
I
Colorado.
did see that. I did see that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about like a scandal like that, I mean, I think that part of that like situation, that scandal, is what drove her out of Colorado 3 to run into the more red district because I think she really thought she was going to lose going into 2024 if she ran in that same district. So, I mean, if we want to talk about baggage like that, like, I mean, I think maybe even Boebert can drop to an F in that sense too. Like, if you want to move her down, but I don't know. What do you think?
I do think everyone forgot about the scandal. And the thing is, MTG has worse comments on white supremacy and things like that. So I do think she's worse than Lauren Boebert,
Really?
or at least
Okay.
right now. Straight up.
All right. That's fine.
All right. We'll go on to some I would say better candidates right now. ANS is looking really empty, so why don't you continue with Kristi Noem?
Yeah, Kristi Noem, governor of South Dakota, I believe. I mean, she's been like really on board with the Trump campaign. She's been campaigning with him. I think even endorsed him going into this 2024 primary. Um yeah, I think she's really solid because she's not really too like she's not so MAGA that she'd alienate independents, but I think she's also like she's pro-Trump enough to definitely get those MAGA voters as well. So I really think she's in this like really good space where she can appeal to all wings of the Republican Party. She definitely would not hurt among independents. Uh yeah, I mean she's definitely going to be an A or S like in terms of who Trump can pick. And I think uh like in terms of the betting odds, she's even at the top right now. Barely though, but
Yeah, so
yeah.
I agree. I think Kristi Noem is a really good pick for him. Again, she can help his margins with white suburban women,
Oh,
which
you're right. Yeah.
has traditionally been a group that Trump needs to do better with. And if he did do 1 or 2 points better with, he might have won 2020. So this is a group that she will help him with. She's well spoken, has a very good image, won't turn off conservative Republicans while having a decent image in terms of winning over independents and kind of being seen as that more stable hand that people can rely on, in contrast to Trump, who sort of is more erratic in terms of what he says. I think she's a high A, maybe even an S tier.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think we can even afford to put her in S. I don't really see any flaws like
Yeah,
with her being a
I
VP
agree.
candidate. So yeah. Okay. Next is Mike Pence. Yeah, this guy is more of a joke in terms of this list. It seems like Trump has fully abandoned Pence. This guy is definitely not going to be Trump's VP. I mean, after Trump essentially sicked a mob on him on January 6th, 2021, yeah, their relationship is pretty much done. Uh, yeah, and yeah, if Trump theoretically did pick Mike Pence again, I mean, establishment traditional Republicans might be like I mean, they'd probably be happy with it, but the much larger MAGA group would definitely not agree with it at all. And yeah, it kind of just goes against Trump's line of thinking. Definitely would be probably an F tier.
Horrible pick, F tier. Mike Pence would absolutely kill the ticket and any chance of Trump winning, honestly. There would be so many opposing storylines with this pick. And like
Yeah.
you said, uh, you just can't convince people that the election is stolen anymore if you put Mike Pence in there. So, anyways, let's continue on to another really, really good pick.
Yeah, Kim Reynolds, governor of Iowa. This one's interesting. I'm doubtful Trump would pick her. Why? Because she endorsed Ron DeSantis over him for the primary, which I think is very interesting, considering how far behind Ron DeSantis is right now. But yeah, I mean, similarly to Kristi Noem, um, she can definitely appeal to white suburban women. She stomped in Iowa in 2022 in her governor election there. So she definitely helped Trump in that state. Not like he needs it though. He's probably already leading there. But yeah, I think she'd definitely be a positive addition to the ticket. Um, and yeah, being part of a slightly more swingy state could also be helpful. Uh, Definitely I'd probably put her A tier. I wouldn't go as far as S tier because she did kind of go against Trump for this primary. Uh, but yeah, I think she's definitely up there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that was a bad move by her. I know she's very close with Ron DeSantis, and that's why she made that move. And I guess you do want to stick by your friends, but in terms of a political move, that was I think political suicide for her VP odds. And I guess if Ron it basically would guarantee her VP if Ron won the nomination. But she
Oh,
did
you're
it
right.
at a
Yeah.
time when Ron DeSantis was absolutely fumbling his campaign. And maybe if she did it earlier, that would help. And maybe if she went all in with Ron all the time, maybe that would help. But it's just not great for her. She would still be a very strong pick, I think, better than everyone else that's not Kristi
Hmm.
Noem on S tier. So we'll put her on A in terms of adding to the ticket, helping Trump with white suburban women still, but she really fumbled that. So
Yeah.
another white woman that Trump I think has been heavily considering is Elise Stefanik, House Conference Chair for the Republicans. And she is a very strong pick, I think, as well. She has built her resume ever since Liz Cheney was ousted from the position after January 6th. And honestly, I think she's another one of these white women that Trump is inclined to pick to help him out with female voters. She also it just is just seen as a more pleasant candidate, a more steady hand in contrast to Trump. That's going to help level it out. She's seen as very loyal to Trump. She wouldn't even say that she would definitely certify this 2024 election, and
Oh.
I think in this case, Trump definitely wants someone that is loyal to him like that and not a repeat of a Mike Pence that kind of threw him under the bus at the last moment. And so that's going to help her case with conservative Republicans. I think she's not going to turn off moderates as a pick like someone like a Matt Gaetz would. And she would be able to unite the party, I think. And again, is a high A potential S tier.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. She's definitely going to be a party unifier. In fact, back when Republicans were struggling to find a Speaker of the House after McCarthy, I actually really thought that she was going to jump in and run, and she was like one of the few that I thought had a really good chance, just because of her ability to kind of appeal to the establishment uh, part of the Republican Party and the more MAGA right wing part of the Republican Party. So yeah, I think she'd make like in terms of strategy, she'd make a very smart VP pick for Trump.
Yeah, I don't know where she learned her political strategy, but she's been maneuvering very well among these types of parts. And in on Capitol Hill, she has been able to get promotions fast. She's very young. I think she's still in her 30s, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe early 40s, and she has just been going up the ladder quick.
Mhm. Okay, next is a former presidential candidate, one who dropped out, and a current senator from South Carolina, Tim Scott. Yeah, Tim Scott. Hmm, what to say about him? I mean, I guess similarly to Byron Donalds, he could also appeal to if Trump wants to make a play for black men. I mean, Tim Scott would be a very good option for that. He definitely has the credentials. Uh, I mean, he's obviously he's a senator. He's in that higher rung of Congress. So I mean, in that sense, he definitely make a good candidate. Um, I mean, he's not really in a swing state, so there's not really that. Um, Yeah, I mean, I think he's just like sort of an average candidate. He doesn't like particularly stand out uh for a VP pick. I'm doubtful Trump would even pick him. But yeah, Alvin, what do you think here?
I honestly think he is better than the candidates we have in B tier. I'm not sure if he all the way goes to an A tier, low A tier, high B tier candidate. I think he has that friendly demeanor. He was trying to win over people by being that friendly personality for the presidential nomination. He hasn't attacked Trump, and I think he is sort of in line with these other white women we have at the top in terms of unifying the party behind him. He could definitely gain with those black voters, and I think that honestly pushes him enough to the A tier. I
Yeah.
don't know if how Tim Scott would really function as VP, but I think he would definitely break all ties in terms of helping Trump if the Senate is tied, and he would probably be a great negotiator with in the Senate if Democrats ever took the Senate, just because of how much experience he has in that body. He's definitely built very good relationships with Senate Democrats over his tenure there, and I'm sure he has people that would love to work with him, even on the other side of the aisle. So he would help Trump's presidency there as well. I guess we'll
Hmm.
end it off with two more. And the first one is Vivek Ramaswamy, who's still in the presidential race right now and seemingly had a shot before to kind of get in the race. And I think Vivek might end up as a cabinet pick for Trump, maybe. Uh, I think with Vivek's specialty, he could go into Secretary of Health or something in that department with all his experience in the medical field. Um, but I don't see him. I don't see him as a VP pick right now. He has been sucking up to Trump for a long time, and he also is a an Asian American, so he could help out there. Would definitely debate Kamala and win with how well spoken he is, but I think he's more of a B tier.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely uh he would definitely energize the MAGA part of the base. I'm not sure how much traditional Republicans would like him just because of his more bizarre stances when it comes to foreign policy. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's very well spoken. And in terms of like speculation on him being vice president, he's largely like denied wanting the role. He said he usually just responds that, "Oh, I'm going for the number one. I'm better in a number one position." Like, uh, so he's still laser focused on his presidential campaign. But yeah, I mean, I think he would probably help Trump more than hurt him. But yeah, maybe like very barely, like a B or C. Like I mean, he doesn't add too much. Uh, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he
really
maybe
up to you
a
here.
low B. I think he does have that youthful energy that's gonna help him present with the concern of the old people at the top. But he is sort of in line with, I think, with Nikki Haley and Byron Donalds, because he is able to excite half the party, which I think these people are able to do, right? Like Nikki
Yeah, yeah,
Haley's right, and so he's an okay pick. He wouldn't doom the ticket like the people below it, but he would he wouldn't be the best pick. And we can end off with Glenn Youngkin here, who is the current governor of Virginia. Did suffer those losses in the 2023 Virginia elections, but he is seen as a very, very strong campaigner, standing at 6'9". He definitely was able to win over the Virginia electorate, which is not easy to do as a Republican, especially as he focused on social policy, which Republicans have traditionally been unable to do in a state like Virginia, in a Democratic state like that. And he's a good campaigner. He is a very seen as a steady hand, a more generic Republican, and he would definitely win over more moderate voters. I think he was able
yeah,
to do it in Virginia. He would do it again with Trump on the ticket next to him, and I think he could be even sneak his way into the A tier.
yeah. I mean, I definitely agree. He would appeal to both wings of the Republican Party, although he's not like yeah he's not really as direct with his extremism. And I don't even think he said like the election was stolen, but like it seems to that he largely unites Republicans in Virginia. He even appealed to moderates. He's popular in the state still, even among independents. So he'd certainly help Trump there. I mean, I doubt Trump would win the state either with even with him as his VP, but he'd definitely help. Um, yeah, I mean, he's definitely A or S, like definitely toward the top. He would add a bunch.
Yeah, I think he doesn't have a demographic boost, but he is gonna go into A for me. He has actually said in the past. I remember when it came to the governor's race, he said Biden was legitimately elected and that there was no fraud. And so maybe that hurts his standing with Trump. He was like sort of distancing himself from Trump in that race, but I think A tier is good. Happy with this tier list?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it largely adds up. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I think it's fair.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. The current betting odds sort of reflect what we've been going for, but there are a few differences. But, anyways, thanks for watching. Leave a like, comment down below, subscribe if you made it all the way through. Thank you very much. Share with your friends. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.
See ya.